Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and I've got a treat for you guys today because I just so happen to have the top 2 NRL22 Airgun Division competitors on this channel to give you some advice about their gear. Hey Eric, I hear you're the number 2 NRL22 shooter in the world right now.
I am. You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I hear you're number 1.
Oh!
Excellent!
Anyway, we're going to go ahead and give you guys a full rundown of everything that we use in competition to be successful. So we'll start with our guns, but don't sleep on the auxiliary gear, bags, things like that, because that is very important too. So we're going to take you through everything that we use to stay at the top of the NRL22 league. All right, so first we're going to start with the guns because, of course, that's what you guys want to see first. So very important to your gun is how you transport it, and I'm just using the stock FX case here for the Panthera. It's very rugged, but let's show you what's inside here. All right, so I am using an FX Panthera 22 caliber 600 millimeter barrel. I'm going to take this gun out and show you in detail everything that's on it after this, but the case is pretty important. So number one, of course, I've got my Zaymot pin right there. I'm using these Orion magazines mostly in competition. Those are the 12 round mini mags for 22. I also have one of their larger ones, and then that's just the stock mag. I like using these because no stage is ever going to be more than 12 rounds in NRL 22. So these are perfect for that. You can just load up 12 rounds and then not worry about it. All right. I also keep ammo in here. I am using 218 30 grain Javelin slugs, Gen 2s, and these are tack drivers. This is an insanely accurate slug for this gun. Additionally, I have a empty chamber indicator. You are going to need a chamber flag if you're competing. I got this one from Area 814 Airguns, and again, I'll leave links for everything in the comments so you guys don't have to go scrambling looking stuff up. Try to make it easy for you. I keep quite a few little dope cards in here and also in my range bag, which we'll get into next. I always have my Element Optics sunshade on here, and of course, I'm just using the straight up lowest cost Element Optics Helix, and it works great for this. And I do have a cover in case it's raining or really dusty and windy. I can throw that on my gun as it's in the staging area and kind of keep stuff out of my lens. But that's sort of what's in the case. And next, I'll go ahead and pull this out, and we'll show you kind of close up what I've got on this thing. All right, so here is my gun. We'll give you a kind of an overview of it and then kind of zoom into the closer parts on it. I'm using the stock bottle, so nothing wrong with the stock bottle. I do have a bag rider on here. A friend of ours named Jeremy makes these. These are available at High Pressure Pneumatics. I'll drop a link for that. Let's get to the optic because that's going to be really important. So just like I said, regular old Element Helix first focal plane, okay? Works really good. I've got it on the FX no limit rings so that I can get my optical center for my zero, which is going to give you just a better view through your scope. And I also have just a cheap Monstrum level on there, and that seems to work pretty well. Of course, I've got the rare Diamond Pepe sticker on there, and then kind of in relation to the scope, I have my little dope card holder. This thing is sweet. It just bolts on to the Picatinny right there with 2 bolts, and it flexes in so I can still put it in the case, and then it flexes out so I can see it when I'm actually shooting. And I do have another dope card holder, which I'll show you once I get into my range bag. But we've got these guns set right around 150 bar, and I have it rated about a little over 3 on the quick tune system. And that seems to launch these 30 grains perfectly at 985, which I find they're very accurate at that speed. All right, I've got the stock grip on there. I like that. Vertical, because you're going to need a vertical anyway on here. Otherwise, you're going to get kind of close to the bottle. So now the fun stuff, the rail. This is a Crawford & Lipped PR5 rail, and it is extremely nice. It's super rugged. It does not flex at all. So when I'm smashing my gun down on barriers, I'm not worried about hitting my barrel and perhaps causing a point of impact shift or anything. Also from Crawford & Lipped, I have the Fat Bastard weights on here. You'll notice these ones have a cut out of them. Those ones are the actual ones for the stock Panthera rail, and that cut allows you to put them on the stock rail and go around the stock bridge. They're actually backwards in this configuration, but anyway, they work the same. So those just bolt on right to the M-LOK rails. Additionally, I've got an Arca Accutac FD4 bipod, and this is critical, guys, because this I need something that deploys quickly, okay? So FD4 stands for fast deployment. No yanking it out, no pressing levers, nothing. Just yank it straight down. I also like that the legs deploy very easily, and I can undeploy them at a quick push of the button. And then on the other side here, it's got a quick release for ARCA. So if I need to quickly adjust my position on the rail, I can do that. Okay. And then also these bipods, they have cant adjustment. You can tighten that up to kind of lock it. So that's been a really good bipod for me. I've tried other ones and nothing compares to the FD4 for me. One other very important thing about the AccuTac bipod is that it can cant 45 degrees backwards. You're going to find this super helpful when you're doing like a modified prone position over, say, the top of a barrel, or sometimes even over a tire stack or something like that. So that's a must-have for me. I've got to have a bipod that cants backwards 45 degrees like that. Last thing is the Donnie FL moderator on there. It's just the standard FX version, and you'll notice it's perfectly about the same size as the shroud in diameter. So it looks really good on there. So that's basically my setup. I don't think I've missed anything. Oh, our friend Robert sent me a really cool brass charging handle that he machined in his garage. So I use that. Looks kind of nice, little bit of bling on there, and yeah, but mostly the gun's mostly stock. You know, all internals are stock. The only things upgraded on it are really the rail and the bag rider. Actually, I've misspoken. The internals are slightly modified. It is a stock factory part. It's the FX 8mm head hammer, which I think weighs about 13.2 grams. So yeah, disregard that it's completely unmodified inside. That's the only thing. And I was using it with the stock hammer for like ever, but it just allows you to have a little bit less hammer spring with the heavier hammer with the more preload because of the bigger head size. So that's going to be my gun. Next, I'm going to show you my auxiliary gear, everything I keep in my bag to keep me at the top of NRL22. All right, so next I'm going to take you through all my auxiliary gear. So we're going to try to focus on the things that are critical to success in shooting, so I'm not going to go into super nitty gritty on this, but let's start with a chronograph. So I've got the FX True Ballistics chronograph. You guys know this one. You've seen it everywhere. It's excellent. It's going to tell you your exact ballistic coefficient, and that's going to be critical for finding out what exactly your projectile has as a BC, because what's always on the box isn't always what's the true BC given your temperature and location and elevation. So having that to figure out your true ballistics is awesome. Now this bag, I'm really glad I picked it up, and I'll link this in the comments. It fits everything I need in here. Let's start with knee pads. So these are some McDavid knee pads. Super critical. If you're not using knee pads in NRL22, you should be, because you're going to be doing a lot of stuff on your knees. It saves your knees. It makes it a lot more comfortable. You can see these are quite used from paintball and everything, and they last a long time. So there's that. Before I get into my bags, let's talk about my tanks. So usually in the summer, I can get through like a whole match just on this Ninja 90 CI 4500 PSI tank. And this one's really nice because it's got a valve that automatically vents once you turn it off. So that's super cool. And then I have, if you need a cheaper option, I have this Orc Air bottle that did come with the neoprene cover. This one is really nice also. Now the key difference here is the valve doesn't automatically vent, but that's okay because you have this little vent here. But on this one, you have a fill nipple with a one-way valve. On this one, you don't. Okay, so you fill through the same fill nipple that it fills your gun through. So if you're using a smaller compressor, you sort of have to get the line up to the pressure in the bottle and then unscrew this. So a little bit more process with this one. They're both about the same size. This is, I think, 1.1 liters is 90 CI, and this one is 100 CI, so it's like 1.4, I think. But either one of these bottles can get you through a whole match, at least the 5 official NRL22 stages in the summer. In the winter, usually 2 of these will keep me going through the whole match. Also, I like to get hand warmers and have them under my hat, in my sleeves, in my pockets, and also in the bag to keep the bottles warm. Additionally, if it's really cold, I want to bring a big bottle. So this is a 6.8 liter bottle. I've been using this one for about a year now. I have 2 of these. The other one that I got is actually DOT certified, so you can fill it anywhere. I know that's a big deal for some people. This one is not, but I just fill it myself. This one has the Orc Air valve on it that does have a one-way valve fill nipple on it. So if you do have a little shoebox compressor like the ones I love so much, you can fill this with a shoebox, you're gonna have to just do it in cycles and let the thing cool down and everything. But the case for it doesn't come with it, but it's available. So again, links in the comments for you guys for that. This one works really good. I've had this for over a year and it's perfect. Doesn't leak a drop and gets everything I need to do done. All right, I guess next let's talk about bags. So I've got quite a few different things that I use here. Let's start with just the simplest one. So this is just a little FX GRS bag. Nice little handbag with a strap on there, so it's easy to hold in your hand before you're starting your stage. Pretty heavy fill and just a nice small bag. I usually use this under my stock for like prone stages and stuff. So that one's pretty nice. I've got this one Tigris bag too. These are real cheap on Amazon. I don't know if they're still available. If they are, I'll drop the link. This one's super lightweight. So sometimes when you're standing there waiting for a stage to start, it's sometimes with a big heavy bag, it kind of tires you out a little bit. So if you don't need a heavy bag for the given stage, this is a nice option to have. And just really helpful for tank trap tips and stuff like that. I do have a heavy Armageddon Gear medium bag with my AirShootist logo in production right now that's coming to me, so I'll be using that. Actually, I do like kind of a heavier bag on the tank tip, so I'm going to try that out. When we get to Eric's gear, you'll see he has one of those. So that's pretty good. And then this is one of my absolute favorite things ever. So this is a Coltac flat bag that I've let some of the beans out of. It's got kind of a medium fill to it. And then you got to get an ARCA rail to attach that to. So this is the one from Area 814 Airguns. Thank you, William McKnight, for sending that out to the channel. Very nice. You can get that at his website. And this just can slide easily. I can loosen and tighten to slide it along my ARCA rail. And I use this, I would say, if there's 5 NRL22 stages in each match, I probably use this for 3 out of 5. Very useful piece of gear. Additionally, my last bag. Now, this is kind of hood, I know, but it's basically an old beat up backpack that I had in like middle school, and it's just filled with a pillow. And let me just drop a little bit of personal stuff on you guys. My father was injured by a drunk driver in 1988, and so I've got a couple pillows and some hoodies in here, and one of the sweatshirts that's in here, and I believe this does give me luck. My father's got an iron will, so even after having a halo screwed into his skull and being quadriplegic in that injury in 1988, he competed in the Olympic Games, the Paralympics, and very soon after in 1993 and won some gold medals. And this is his official shirt. So just as a piece of good luck, I keep that in my little squeeze bag here. And this bag is awesome. People kind of squint at me maybe a little bit when I show up with this, but if you're doing positions like this, it's really nice. You can kind of, on all different barricades, this is going to give you a nice advantage, and it's almost like cheating. I didn't start using this until recently, and I've seen the value in this. And it's also good for like if you do modified prone positions, stuff like that. Super useful to have, and anybody can have one of these. I'm sure you have a backpack sitting around and some pillows you could throw in it. So that's good. Let's see, what else do I have in here? I've got, for the range, I've got, let's see, I've got FX chronograph. This is the Pocket Chrono V2. I also have the screen. I've hooked it to a little rail that I can just quickly rubber band onto my gun, and that's just, I don't always want to pull out the full ballistics chronograph before matches, so this makes it easy. So I've got that. I've also got a really nice rangefinder. This is the 6-hour Kilo 4K, and most people go with the 5K, but I think this one's better because it has optical image stabilization, and it's a game changer. When you look through this and press that button and the little gyro inside evens out all of your wiggling, it makes it, you can focus on super small little things and range them that you would not be able to do with a normal rangefinder. So very nice. Also, it takes a CR123 battery versus the non-standard CR2 that a lot of the other ones take. So if you have flashlights and stuff on your guns, more than likely they're going to take a CR123, pop it right in here, good to go. Also, it does have a 1/4-inch camera mount, so if you want to put this on a tripod, you could do that too. Also, this connects to Applied Ballistics and the Basemap app, so you can actually like scout out areas with this thing and show you on your phone exactly where you've lasered. And then additionally to that, it has the ballistics in it, so when I range something, it's going to tell me exactly what my holdover is because I've put my ballistic data in. So critical. This is critical. And believe me, sometimes at some matches, the obstacles and the targets are not set out at the perfect distance. So to just verify it is definitely a good thing to do.
Also worth noting is that we're both using the Straylock Pro app to calculate our ballistics. So this is a great app. You can go in here and put all of your details in. So we've got our scope details, the height over bore with the scope, what kind of scope it is. It even has reticles for a ton of different manufacturers in there. So that's great. And then we've got our ballistic information in there, including the weather, which is great. And we're able to then go back and calculate at various distances. You can see that I've got 78 yards in there, and it's telling me 4.3 MOA holdover. And I found this to be very, very accurate and a great app. So with the recent political nonsense and Russian sanctions, you can't get this anymore on the Google Play Store. There are other ways to get it, but you can use the Element Ballistics app, you can use Chair Gun, and there's some other options in there. But you're going to want to have a good ballistics app when you're shooting NRL22 matches.
What other tricks do I have up my sleeve here? So this one's more boring, but is definitely helpful. Clipboard. This is critical to just have your course of fire. I always print them out the night before. I write all my holds, some notes, and that's a critical thing to have. And then before I told you I would show you my other little dope card holder. So this is one that goes on your arm. I'll drop a link for this. These are super cheap. I think I got this for 13 bucks, and they also have one for about 30. But anyway, you get the point. It goes on your arm. So, you know, if you're shooting, it's in a nice position to see. It'll fit 2 of these cards. I bought a thing of 25 of these cards. I'll drop a link for that too. So what I do, whether I use my on-gun one or not, is I write my notes on here, and then I put a piece of packing tape over it. So that way it doesn't rub off. So perfect. But that's a really nice little trick up my sleeve. Also, just in case somebody needs a dope card holder, I always just have a little cheap ID holder that goes around your arm. Somebody lent me one of these at a previous match, so I thought I would kind of pay it forward just by buying one of these to have in case somebody needs it. Of course, I've got the dry erase markers, extra dope cards, and that's going to be pretty much all of my kit. Of course, I've got some tools and stuff in there, safety glasses, hearing protection, but that's going to be, I think that's it. That's all the gear I use. And I've been kind of a minimalist in the past, and I've kind of started to realize the value in having some of these additional pieces, and that's why I've got them. But definitely enough to keep me in first place of NRL22. So hopefully that's helpful to you guys. And next, we're going to show you what Eric's got in his bag of tricks.
Hey everybody, so you got to look at what Warren has in his case and what he uses in matches. So now we're going to take a look at what I've got. So we'll start here, kind of go same format Warren did. We've got the same stock FX case for the Panthera. A little more minimalist here. Got the sweet Tomax pin. It's a nice gift from Warren. I am also running the FX Panthera 22 caliber 600 millimeter barrel. Use some different magazines. These are the stud Panthera magazines. They are 18 shots. I will only load these with the number of shots required for a particular stage. So it just gives me a little bit of extra. Some people might say you could throw a few extra in there in case something happens and you have a slug falls out or you have a jam or something you need to spend a round. Some of our stages have required mag changes, so you should always have a couple of extras and even a third one in case one breaks midway through. That's these two. Got, let's see, chamber flag Warren talked about. This is the one I've got. This is from Carm. Same thing. You'll need these for safety at all matches that you want to participate in. And these just go right in the breech. They'll go around the barrel protrusion, and sometimes they'll have a little O-ring to keep it stuck there. Okay, again, pretty minimalist case compared to, I keep most of my stuff in my range bag, so we'll get to that a little bit later. So I'm going to go ahead and get this out, and then we'll take a look at what's on the gun. Okay, guys, well, this is the gun itself. We'll just work from the top down. So we'll start off with the optic. This is a tracked toric 5 to 25 by 50, 34 millimeter tube. This is a great scope. I finally splurged a bit and spent on some nice glass, and this is worth every penny. They're an American company. I believe they're in Pennsylvania. Everything is made here, to my knowledge. Great quality stuff, great customer service. So it's got some Tenebrex caps on it. I always like to run the lens caps, keep dirt and stuff out of it during a match. I always run the sunshade. And on the end of this, some people will call these a mirage cap, but basically it reduces the aperture size on it, which compresses I think I'm saying that right, compresses the focal distance. So I don't have to parallax as much between different distance targets on the stages. I'm more in focus, so it's just one thing that I don't have to play with when I'm in the middle of the stage. These are great. I won't go too many features of the scopes, but locking turrets, which are awesome. This sits in a nice set of burris rings. I upgraded these this year as well. These are pretty cool. They have little plastic inserts that actually allow you to adjust the cant in the scope. So if you want a little bit more or a little bit less than what is on your rail by default, you can swap these out. I have these pretty much flat. The 20 MOA that comes stock with the gun works out well for an optical center for me. So those are great. From the back here, everything's pretty much stock, except I have a 300 bar Air Marksman bottle on it. I got a different grip this year, carbon fiber grip. I wanted to reduce the weight on the back end of the rifle, and I also wanted something with a built-in thumb shelf. So this did both for me, and it's been running great the last couple matches I've been using it. This is the Saber Tactical Bag Rider. I wanted one. First couple matches of this year, I didn't have it. They hadn't released it yet, and trying to situate a bag on the bottle is a little awkward. So I highly recommend a bag rider on the bottom. Something to give you a little bit better platform when you're propping up for prone positions.
It looks like that also has a QD socket on it for a sling.
I haven't actually used it for that. They built this. This was actually it's a pretty cool rail. There's a dovetail that's built into the frame, and that's how this attaches. So there's two bolts that hold it in, and they've built a lot of things into this. Saber Tactics have always had pretty modular stuff, and they have new accessories that they'll build out for it in the future. So if we move forward, I'm running the same rail that you saw on Warren's. It's the Crawford and Lipped PR5 rail. Really stiff. I like the way it attaches. It's very solid on the gun. So I was running a different rail before this that weighed a bit more, but I like the construction on this. So the problem I had was getting this thing to actually balance. So they got a lot of weight on the front of this. So we'll start with the obvious. These are Grey Ops CNC weights. These attach M-lock all the way up and down. I believe the big ones are 9 ounces each. I have on the top 2 of the bridges, and then a smaller set of weights. I believe those are 6 ounces each. And then the same on the other side. And then if you notice on the bottom, I have a couple other pieces. So this here is a universal Arcalock rail from Area 419. This also has underneath, which you can't see, brass insert weights. So there's 5 weights that insert throughout this rail. I removed the back 2. I wanted to keep it more front weighted. So that additionally puts more weight towards the front of the gun to help it balance. And then finally, this is the Grey Ops Mini Plate Pro. So this attaches with an Arca Quick Detach, and this gives a nice, flat, stable platform to get on top of a bag, on top of barricades. It's been great. Really helps with the side-to-side movement and the cant on your gun. Finish off, I got Atlas bipod up front. This does not have quick deploy features like the Accutax, but it's really lightweight. And originally I wanted a lightweight bipod. Now I think because I do run some stages without the bipod, having less of a weight difference when it's on and off helps keep the balance of the rifle the same. But these are cool. It has 45 front and back all the way. Extensions are pretty easy to use as well. And then there's a quick detach Arca plate on it if I need to remove this and slide it off or throw it on the ground in between positions. And then lastly, on the front, I am running, this is something new I'm trying out for the last couple of matches. It's the APW 4-port Raptor muzzle brake. When I'm not running that one, or when I was running previously, and when I'm practicing here at Warren's, I run the Silent Thunder Ordnance Pugio silencer. This thing has been great. Quiets it down while still being really small. I wanted to keep the end of this gun short. We have to pull in and out of barricades like the ladder and the A-frame, and the shorter muzzle you have, the less chance you're going to short it and whack it on the barricade and risk a point of impact shift or something like that. So those are the two that I run on the front of that. And then last little piece, forgot when we're going over the top, I do have a scope level. I believe this is US Optics. We'll look this up and make sure we get it right. But this is, to help for cant during the stages. And then the bullet central flat blade trigger as well. And all of this is just to really help with a 90-degree trigger pull, make sure you have the same feel every time you pull the trigger and keep everything nice and consistent. So like Warren, I'm also running the 8mm hammer inside of this. I noticed when I was first tuning this gun for the projectiles that I use, I wasn't able to get quite enough hammer on it. So the heavier hammer allows it to use a lower spring tension. So this is running about 275 or so. I usually run this between 275 and 3, depending on the weather. I was shooting this last night inside, so 70 degrees, and this gets me where I want to go, but I'll crank this all the way up to 21 or so on the macro on cold match days to keep the same velocity. And we'll talk about the projectiles when we get into the range bag. Lastly, just the gauges. I have a digital gauge on here. This one is high because it got cold, but generally in room temperature, I run this about 160 bar. And I think that's it on the gun. So we'll get into the gear, range bag, and sandbags and things like that in just a second. All right, so we took a look at the gun. Let's take a look at what we have in the range bag and other gear. So we'll start with coming to some of the big pieces first. Tanks. I have a 74 cubic foot air tank. I have a Bigfoot compressor at home that I use to keep this filled. This will take me through an entire match, of course, no matter the weather, hot or cold. A couple of things. I did replace on this tank the valve with the Saber Tactical valve. The original one was starting to get a bit corroded over time, and it wasn't super high quality. So I wanted to make sure something was going to last for a while and not leak. I also got on the front of this, I believe these are from Edgun. These are the easy fill adapters. This is kind of nice. It's trigger based, but what's cool is you can leave this in between fills, so I don't have to purge the line every single time. So it saves a little bit of air if you're filling up between a whole bunch of stages or something like that. Just conserves air, and it's nice and fast to be able to use it. Also wanted to point this out. Tripods can be really important in NRL22. You'll notice lots of people at matches will have their binoculars on them, wind flags. They'll have some like bag carry webbing in them, so you can carry around some miscellaneous small gear and stuff. These are great for practice. They're props as well. I don't remember the model number on this one, but it's a Sunway photo. We'll get that and link it later. But these are great. Carbon fiber, 3-section, opens up, very stable. Good mount on top for both Arca and Picatinny. So you can go hunting with these as well. Keep your gun on it, no problem. Very multi-use, but good to have. Okay, so we'll start to get into the range bag here. I believe we'll start with some bags. Warren mentioned the Armageddon Gear Schmediums. This is mine. It's had some good use this season. I actually refilled this. I got just the medium bead fill, and I wanted something a lot heavier after running it for a while. So this is actually refilled with leveling sand. It's cheap. It's a couple bucks a bag at Home Depot or whatever. Really heavy, good consistency to squish, and gets very stable on props. So we'll showcase that just a little bit later. Run a couple of other small bags as well. Warren showed you the GRS small bag. This is another version from Coltac. This is also filled with that same heavy sand. So you get options for laying it flat for prone. You can hang on to this with your hand in it if you want to move, have a better grip on it when you're moving between barricades. You can run this vertical, give a little squeeze, whatever. It's most useful for those modified prone positions where you need to play with the height a little bit off the different barricades. And then similar to his flat bag, there's this one. This was made, it's also by Armageddon Gear, but it's made specifically to work on that Mini Plate Pro on the gun. So I'm not going to attach it because it's a little bit difficult, but essentially these clip into these mounting holes on both sides of this plate. They're very sturdy, and you get the same idea. So you can keep this nice mounting surface and have a good bag in here as well. This came with a heavy fill already. I took some of it out to make it a little bit squishier, conform a little bit better to the barricades. But these are just a must-have for narrow obstacles, like the middle of the A-frames, the ladders, and the chair as well. When you got to shoot off the seat, under the back, you got to have something really nice and skinny. And I got one more bag. This is the retail version of the backpack pillow bag. This is also by Coltac. These are just a good pump pillow. It's got a sling, so you can keep it around your neck and shoulders. You can just kind of throw it behind your back, swivel it out in the front. But these are great for multiple positions. So when you're kneeling, either both knees on the ground or one knee, these take up that voided space very well to just make you a little bit more stable. And also good for higher modified prone positions, like off of a rooftop or when you're on like the 5-gallon bucket and things like that. So these are great to have. This is just, a lot of manufacturers make these, but they're good. Nice sling, nice lightweight. Okay, so some of the gear in here. This is all range stuff, so this is for practice and for getting set up at the beginning of a match. A good chronograph is a must. So this is the Garmin CX1 Pro. These, I believe, are becoming easier to get on the market now. It comes with a nice tripod with the 1/4-inch screw, but Grey Ops makes a nice mounting solution for this. So they have this special mount that sits on the bottom. It's a button spring loaded, and this will clip into a Picatinny rail. I wish I could show you that. So they have a mounting plate solution that's Arca with this Picatinny mount on the end, and this slides in and grabs on to those lugs. You can do this on a rail that's on your gun already as well, if you don't want to use the Arca mount to actually put it on the frame. So a lot of options for how to mount this. Again, this was from Grey Ops. Some of these Arca mounts and whatnot are Area 419, or Grey Ops makes them too. And then the carrying bag is from Coltac as well. Just a good way to keep everything nice and protected when it's in your range bag and out at a match. Good pair of binoculars too. A lot of times, the people at matches are great. You can share gear. Somebody is always going to be in your squad with spotting binoculars and a tripod and everything, but it's good to have it just in case, or for practice, or for hunting or whatever. So this is a pair of Athlon Argos binoculars. I think these are the 12 by 50. Reasonably priced. You can get these on Amazon or multiple places. What is it, 50? Yeah, 50 millimeter objective. These have been great. Pretty lightweight, rugged, good clear glass. So that'll help you out as well. So I have this is just a carrying case. Got a couple things in here. Thermal for night hunting. It's fun. And then also have a rangefinder. This is just a loop-holed, less expensive, doesn't have the cool features of the SIG. If I had to get another one, the SIG 4K that Warren talked about is awesome. That optical image stabilization is a killer feature. I think last thing is what I'm shooting. So I shoot the Alteros ATP King. They're 40 grain slugs. I shoot these around 910 feet per second or so. And these have been great for me. They got a really high BC. They do really great in the wind. They're actually better than 22 LR ammo when it comes to that. So other guys are holding a mil at 100. I'm half a mil. So it makes a big difference. Any little advantage you can get out there. Oh, I almost forgot. Speaking of BCs and dope cards, a dope card holder is good. I have a slightly different option than what Warren has. Let me see if I can find it here. So this is also from Coltac. I think it's called their cheat sheet. It's really simple. It's Velcro on a nice piece of fabric, so nothing to break, with an elastic band. So this basically you can hook around your scope tube or anywhere else that you want on there. They have these cards, so they're white dry erase cards with Velcro on them. Stick these in here. I have maybe a dozen replacements. You can do these a number of ways. You can use dry erase markers. You can tape over them like Warren has. A trick I heard was you put painter's tape on these, and then you can write on the tape with pen or marker or whatever. It won't smear, won't come off in the water. Then you just peel this off and replace it the next time you're ready to use it. So these are killer. I don't use this a ton. I tend to remember most of the stages, but every once in a while there's one with a lot of movement and a lot of different distances, and these can be really important just to help you remember in that moment of panic, what's my next holdover somewhere, and that save your butt. Let's see, anything else fun in here? Notepad and pocket field cleaning kit. In case you ever need to do a little maintenance in the field, tools, cleaning kit are key. And then two other small things, not super important, but can be great help when practicing. Timers and clickers, especially if you're practicing with a partner and you're actually running stages. You're going to be under time when you're out there, so practice under time, and just to help count your hits. These are real cheap off Amazon. We can find links for those as well. I think that's it. Hearing protection, hand warmers like Warren uses as well. A lot of standard stuff. So that's what I've been running, and it's doing pretty good so far. The competition's tight at the top of the leaderboard. I'm very happy with number 2 in my first year out. So we'll see how this season wraps up, and let you guys know how we do at Nationals.
All right, guys, I know that was a super long video, but the goal here is to try to help you guys get higher in the leaderboard status than you are already by knowing kind of the gear that we use to stay at the top. So thank you guys for watching. It is going to take me forever to find all those links for you guys, but I'm not opposed to a little hard work for you. But for now, we're going to do a little bit of party time and practice.
Party time, excellent.
So we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.